All right, guys, we're back. We're here to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 18, The Chicago Reunion, Part 1. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, scene by scene. Um, the highlights were it was nice to see that Camille and Thomas are still together. It was nice to see that Madison and David are still together. I was sad to see that Carla is still messing around with Juan. Um, I think that's bad decision making on her part. Alan seems like, he's moving on and healing, from the whole situation. Ikechi, to me, seems like he's still displaying some of the same, he has his guard up. So he had his guard up on the season, and I see him having that same guard up now. He is admitting stuff that he wasn't willing to admit when he was on the show. So I actually believe him when he says that he wasn't attracted to MM. Some people don't. I do. Michelle, for some reason, just doesn't want to let go of her anger. I mean, they played a clip of Madison talking during the season, and she has gone back in time, and now she's mad because Madison said that over a year ago. Girl. And I love MM, I like her look, and I appreciate, that she's happy. So, I knew that Kevin Frazier was going to focus on the cheating and just give Michelle a whole pass. I anticipated that. So that part I wasn't disappointed in. I was disappointed that Madison didn't stand up for herself more. But I think that I agree with Michelle when she was talking to Alan, and she said that they're just suppressing it so that they can get through the show. And I see it both ways. I see it from Madison's perspective. She's got a career that she wants to maintain, and she really just kind of wants to move on from what happened on the show. And I get that. I selfishly just want her to really just sit Michelle down and shut her up once and for all. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I love that Alan didn't get sucked into Michelle's mess. You mad about it, you and your feelings, but he's like, well, what do you want her to do? What, you want them to come on here and make themselves look even more stupid than they already look? They're not going to, do that. And I understand, that rationalization. She wants to get it all out and air the dirty laundry and, whatever. Whatever, Michelle. My goodness. It's like, they want, and I'm saying they, Michelle and her stands, her stupid fans, they want a pound of flesh. I mean, they've apologized. They've said that they were wrong. They wish that things had been different. And they have thanked people for holding them accountable. I think they've answered the questions, without being too defensive. I don't know what else these people are supposed to do in order for people to move on that this happened. And people are still trying to act like they didn't know how this happened. And it just kind of brings me to, the whole Christianity, thing. A lot of people that watch this show are Christians. And it's really disgusting. And another reason why I left Christianity. I actually grew up in a rural community full of Christians. And I have to go back to this community because we have farmland that, has to be developed. And it depresses me because I know how closed-minded and how stupid and biblically ignorant, they are. The Bible talks about grace and forgiveness. And when someone repents from what they've done, you don't get to still poke them with a fire iron. You don't get to cut off their hands and their feet and their head. You don't get to do that anymore. They have already been beaten into repentance. And that's a hard thing. And Michelle herself and the people who are supporting her don't have that wherewithal. They don't have that understanding. That's another reason why we stay embroiled in war and strife, and why our economy is tanking, and why the United States is imploding, because of the negativity and the BS that comes spewing out and oozing out of Christians. They're some of the worst people on the planet, and they think that they're some of the best people on the planet. If you actually really look biblically, most Christians are going to hell. And they think everybody else is going. They're going first. And they don't want to accept or understand that. And that's another reason why I decided to go ahead and put this video out for anybody that is interested in listening. Christians are going straight to hell. And I understand why. I also understand why people that don't believe in God don't like Christians. Christians are tolerated in society. People don't really like them because of the demonic nature that's inside of them. And I'm having to purge myself from it. And I'm having to learn how to forgive and give grace. I've forgiven people who have done me extremely wrong. And it's just one of those things. I mean, I have to look at, what I contributed, to the situation. And I have to look at what they contributed, to the situation. And I have to govern myself, accordingly. We actually do Jesus wrong on a daily basis. We choose worldly things and we choose other people. We put other people first. And then put him on the back burner. And then expect him to give us blessings and long, productive, healthy lives, when we don't nurture and cultivate, the relationship that we're supposed to be having, with him. And so now you've got people who all of a sudden want to pull out that Bible and sit up and talk about what other people have done, when they have done plenty of things wrong that are inside of that same book that they want to point fingers at other people, with. It's disgusting, and it's a thing that has prevented black people from being successful. That Bible and their stupid Christian thinking is the very thing, the very tether, the very chain that's still around your stupid necks that keep the community from thriving and being successful. And black people don't want to understand that. White people have a lot to do with our oppression. But now we've contributed to our own oppression because we live double lives. You're out here sitting and doing things that you're not supposed to be doing according to that book. And then you're using the book to judge other people for their sin. You can't do that. It's like the woman who was caught in adultery. The Lord said, if any of y'all that are judging her are without sin, then that person is the one that gets to, throw the stone and hold up the law. The law says that if you get caught in adultery, then they can stone you to death. But he's saying that if you're infested in sin, then you can't judge her being infested in her sin. And they don't want that scripture. They get mad at you. They be wanting to, string you up. If Jesus was here today saying the same words that he said in the Gospels, they'd be throwing him in the electric chair. They'd be sitting there gloating because they are getting ready to pump him full of drugs to kill him. They would be the first ones to pick up a gun on a firing squad to kill him. These are the kind of people who are judging David and Madison today. And they have no quarter to do so. I am sick of people in my comments with this nastiness in a situation that Michelle created. Michelle created this. If she had nurtured and fostered her marriage, this probably wouldn't have even happened. And I say the same thing for Madison. If she had nurtured and fostered her marriage, this probably wouldn't have even happened. So you're trying to hold people responsible on one end, but you're not holding them responsible on the other one. An equation must have a balance. A problem must have a solution. Even if it's no solution, you have to put the zero with the line through it to say that this problem cannot be solved. And then you move on. There has to come a point where there is resolution. If there is no resolution, then you're Don Quixote, chasing after windmills. You're running after rainbows, looking for a pot of gold that you're never going to find. There has to be some kind of resolution. And I am thirsty for us to find it. I don't know what's going to happen in episode, 2, because they're splicing and putting together the soundbite, for next episode. I actually hope that it will give us, a measure of resolution. But if it doesn't, then I'm going to put that zero down there and put a line through it, that there is no solution to this problem. So, one of the other things that I missed, I have to correct that Alan doesn't have a Porsche. He has a Jaguar. So I've been meaning to put that correction, in there, and I've missed it. The other thing is, these people should be getting annulments. They shouldn't be trying to go and get divorces, because that doesn't make any sense. So we keep throwing the word divorce and marriage around very loosely, because marriage is more than standing at an altar and write your name on a piece of paper. And Michelle didn't respect her marriage any more than David did. And for people to get stuck and focused and tunnel visioned on what happened at the altar and them signing a piece of paper is just ridiculous. The other thing that I wanted to say, and then I'm going to get off of here, I grew up with my grandmother and them watching soap operas. And they was doing all kinds of stuff on them soap operas. And I don't remember my grandmother and them getting caught up the way that people are getting caught up about this show. And it kind of shows me the degradation in the mentality that is happening, with Christians. I mean, I should have been watching soap operas, but I was. And we all saw it. So don't act like you don't see how situations can happen with people, because most of us grew up watching soap operas. The other thing, too, is I referenced some songs on one of my videos. TLC, Creep. So I Creep. Me and Mrs. Jones, Atlantic Star, Secret Lovers. All these different, songs that are talking about cheating in various different ways. Black people have listened and put these songs on the top of the charts. So and have reveled in, blasting it on your speakers, on your stereos, on your CDs, or whatever it is, that you listen, whatever medium you're listening to this stuff on. There were Christians that were still listening to R. Kelly when they knew that this joker was a pedophile. So, miss me with your morality, because you are steeped in the world. You're out here doing worldly things. You're out here sucking up worldly content. And then, when you see something that you're offended by, then that's when you want to whip out the Bible. Yeah, I can't take none of y'all seriously. And it's a huge, huge reason why I don't like Christians. I used to be one. And I understand where the self-hate, comes from. You hate yourself so much that when you're able to spew some of that hate on other people, then that's what you get satisfaction out of. And it's disgusting. The other reason why I don't like Christians is because I was raised around them. And the nastiness and the meanness that I got from them has been a deteriorating and really negative factor in my life. And I'm very happy that I'm no longer associated with that jacked up religion. David and Madison don't owe you anything. They don't owe Michelle anything. They've already given her everything that they can. They don't have to give her a pound of their flesh in order for her to make herself feel good about herself. That's something that Michelle is going to have to work on. And it's something that Christians are going to have to work on for themselves as well. So, the bitterness needs to stop from everybody. Like I said, I'm tired of reading it. I'm sick of it. I've had to watch this for weeks. And it really makes me wonder if I want to subject myself to this kind of mess for another season. So I really am in a fluctuation about what I want to do. Because people who don't want to pay for Peacock, but then will come and suck up my content because I have Peacock and will, upload it. And they won't even give me a like. But then to sit there and leave these toxic, acidic comments that I have to sit up and read. I don't know if it's worth it for me to actually do it, anymore. And I have to ask. I have to ask the Lord, what is it that he wants me to do? Because I want to be able to service people that appreciate, what I do. But at what cost is, my question. So, yeah, I'm done. I still don't know. If I feel compelled to do a video for part 2, then I will. But if I don't, I won't. If they don't give us any more information on the next episode than we got from this episode, then I probably won't. And then I'll do a commentary on the Where Are They Now episode. So I will talk to you guys possibly on the next video. I think I'm going to do it on Where Are They Now. So yeah, I'll definitely talk about that one. So I'll see you guys then. And take care of yourselves.